Hello and welcome back to another Eat Smart Nutrition lesson. Today we're going to talk about healthy yogurt. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Greek style yogurt. Now, when you go to the store shelves and you start to look for these kind of yogurts, there's going to be a whole bunch of companies that offer their style of Greek yogurt. And I want you to know that they're all pretty much the same. So as long as it's a Greek style yogurt, you're going to be choosing a healthier yogurt in comparison to a more traditional style yogurt that you'll find inundated on store shelves. So when you go to find these things and you see products and companies such as Yoplait and Dannon, Fage, Oikos, and Chobani, again, they're all pretty much the same, and you're looking for that Greek-style yogurt. It's up to you then to find which one that you prefer, because there is a different taste, in my personal opinion, between the Yoplait yogurt and Chobani. So I have a preference of Chobani just as a personal taste, but I know people who prefer Dannon over Oikos. So it's up to you. You'll have to figure out which one tastes the best to you and then try to choose that on a regular basis and incorporate these inside of your daily lifestyle routines. So why are these Greek yogurts so much better and healthy? Well, let's spend some time here today and talk about that. And the first thing that I want to point out is that we are dealing with a typical serving size of 6 ounces for a certain amount of calories. And depending on whether or not you choose a flavored Greek yogurt, such as this Chobani strawberry flavored one, or if you go plain, the calories are going to be a little bit different. But they all pretty much stick to a 6-ounce serving size container. But what makes these superior to traditional style yogurts are two things in my nutritional opinion. The first is the protein content. Notice that there's 14 grams per container in this Greek style yogurt, which makes this a much better choice than traditional, because a traditional style yogurt is going to have maybe 6 or 7 grams of protein, tops in their version. So the Greek style yogurts are much better, are a much healthier and better protein source than traditional. The second big difference is going to be the amount of sugars that's included. Now, anytime that you deal with a flavored yogurt, and again, you're dealing with strawberry here, there's going to be more added sugars into that container than if it was plain. But if you would compare a traditional strawberry flavored yogurt to this Greek, you're going to find that the Greek style is going to have significantly less added sugars than traditional. So let's see what else we're dealing with here. You can see that there's no fat because this is a non-fat product. So there's no grams of saturated fat, no grams of trans, but we can't believe it. Even though it's all we know it's non-fat, let's come over here and confirm it in the ingredients list. Here we see no hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. That's a good thing. Sodium is pretty low. I like that. Only 65 milligrams in a 6-ounce container. That's good. 20 grams of total carbohydrate, and you're actually going to get about 1 gram of fiber because of the strawberries that are added in there. All right, so that's over here on the nutrition fact side why it's so good. But let's take a deeper look at the ingredients list, as you know is the most important part. You'll notice that the very first ingredient is non-fat milk. All right, it should be that. It's a dairy product. Next ingredient is strawberries. Third ingredient, not such a great thing, evaporated cane juice, but because it has so few ingredients and because it is a flavored yogurt, you're going to get some added sugars in there, which is where some of this is coming from right there. And then the rest of this is just basic stuff, but compare this to a traditional style yogurt and you're going to find that the ingredients list is significantly less. And I want to point your attention to one more thing here, and that is anytime that you pick up a yogurt, some ingredients lists will say this, some won't, but you'll see contains 5 live active cultures, and it will list all of those. Now, all yogurts are going to contain these, whether or not it's included in the ingredients list. If you see it here, it doesn't make it any more or less special. It's just when you are dealing with yogurt, you're going to be dealing with these live active cultures, so they're all going to contain these things. So one more thing to point out here, and that's the calcium. The only negative downfall that there is to Greek yogurt is that it does contain a little bit less calcium per serving or per container than traditional. Just because it's the way it's strained and made, a little bit of calcium is lost. So in this container, you're going to get, as you know, 150 milligrams. Erase the percent out of 0 for 150 milligrams. So this is a great example of a healthy snack option that would provide you with a high protein source, low sugar in comparison to a traditional style yogurt. Now, there's another better option to this, so let's take a look at that. And that is over here, you'll see that this is now a plain style yogurt. And the difference is it's not flavored. So therefore, you're not going to see nearly as many sugars, or are you going to find any added sugars here in the ingredients list? And if you do a quick scan, it'll all be confirmed there for you. But the difference between this and the flavored versions are what I just mentioned, and it's going to have obviously less calories because there's less sugar getting added. Still no fats, sodium, maybe just a little bit higher, no big deal there. But look at the carbohydrate difference between this and what I just showed you. Only 7 grams of total carbohydrates, 7 grams are sugars, which, as you can see, there are no added sugars here. So what that means is that anything that you see here in the sugar area is going to be the naturally occurring sugars. And as some of you may know, lactose is the natural sugar that's in milk products, and that's where all that's coming from. And then look down here once again, 18 grams. A little bit more protein even than the flavored Greek yogurt that I just showed you. Superior source of protein, and then you're getting about 200 milligrams of calcium in this plain. Now, you're probably asking yourself, ooh, that's pretty gross. Plain yogurt, whether it's Greek or traditional, doesn't taste all that good. And I totally agree with you. So therefore, you're probably going to want to add something sweet or a sweetener to this in order for it to taste good. Now, before I get into that, I want you to know that this is actually the kind of yogurt that I would recommend that you go with if this is something that you can tolerate. Non-fat, plain Greek yogurt is the best choice, even above that one here that I showed you previously in the strawberry because of the added sugars and things like that. So try to go with plain if you can tolerate it, but you're probably going to have to add a little bit of sweetener to it. Now let's get into something that we're not going to talk about too in depth today, but we're just going to review it. These are artificial sweeteners that I do not recommend adding to any part of your day, whether it's your coffee, whether it's to baking and cooking, or to these Greek yogurts. I do not recommend that you use artificial sweeteners. And like I said, this is beyond the scope of what we're going to talk about today, but these are unnatural, highly processed, chemically made sweeteners that our bodies are not designed to utilize and absorb. They cause health problems. Beyond the scope of this, I want you to just think of these things, whether it's a sweet and low packet, which is saccharin, whether it's Equal, which is aspartame, or if it's Splenda, which is sucralose. I want you to think of these artificial sweeteners as poison. They should not be part of your daily routine. Now, is it okay to use these occasionally, every now and then? Absolutely. But you're probably going to be hurting your health long term if these things are part of your daily lifestyles. So then you're probably asking, well, what do I put in these things? Well, there is a natural, totally 100% natural artificial sweetener that is now available on store shelves, and it's called stevia. And these products that I'm showing you right here are the common companies that make stevia-related sweeteners. And the one on the left is called Truvia, and the one on the right is called Sun Crystals. And it contains stevia, which comes from a plant. And this is the only healthy artificial sweetener that I don't want you to think of as an artificial sweetener. I want you to think of it as a natural sweetener because it is. It's not a chemically made, man-made artificial sweetener. It's a natural sweetener that we now have access to that you can utilize in your coffees, in your teas, in your Greek yogurts, or anything else that you want to sweeten. That's okay to do. Now, I would still caution you not to go nuts with this. Don't go using this, in every single meal and snack, because it is still a sweetener, and we're trying to limit all of those things. And it's always good to use stuff in moderation. So while I would say that using a couple packets per day isn't going to hurt you, if you would use more than that, it's probably not best. But it's definitely a better option than those artificial sweeteners that I just showed you, because this is natural and something that you can use to flavor some of maybe your oatmeal in the morning. If it's just too bland and you don't like it, you need a little sweetener. Or if you want to flavor and sweeten your plain Greek yogurts and things like that, these are the products that I would prefer that you use because they're natural and they won't cause damage to your internal health. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.